you know, this movie is great. We're talking about Autopsy from 1975. Is the 50th anniversary, the half-century celebration, quote unquote, of Autopsy by Armando Crispino. Why are we talking about this movie today, gang? It's because I'm working on a project, not able to reveal what it is right now, but I was looking up a bunch of Giallo films and synopses of them. And one, because we've gone through a lot of films in the last half decade talking about them, but there are still more that we haven't discussed. So after looking at the write-ups for all of the films that we've talked about, I was like, okay, I'll go into some undiscovered country. And I came across Autopsy. And looking at the plot synopsis on Wikipedia, I was blown away. I could not understand what I was reading. The synopsis, you have to scroll like 3 pages to get through all of it. Like, I got to watch this movie. Got to know what it is. So we're going to talk about it. I will confess that even now, after having watched Autopsy, I came away even more confused than when I read that synopsis. I went back to the synopsis and read it, and it makes even less sense than either of the other 2 times I experienced this story. So I'm excited to get to it. And hopefully someone in this class can set me straight, because I feel like I'm wearing the dunce cap on this one, even more so than usual. But hey, we're talking about a class. This is Accademia Giallo, after all. I am Ian Simmons of Kicking the Seat. We have Aaron Christensen, a.k.a. Dr. AC of Horror 101 with Dr. AC. John Kitley of Kitley's Crypt. A belated something or other for you, sir.
That's right.
Another trip around the sun.
Yes.
Recently. So happy one of those. I'm not gonna say the B word just in case. And speaking of B,
it totally throws off the algorithm if you say that. Yeah. So don't do it.
Speaking of B, Big Swifty 500. Yes, Steve, you have ascended the ranks of being a commenter here on the stream for a long time, and now you've jumped straight up to the head of the class. You are officially part of the faculty. Okay, maybe you're on probation, depending on how this episode goes.
I don't know. Have you seen the education system these days? I mean, just walk in and be like, "Are you teaching? Awesome, good. Get in."
You guys, I hope hopefully you grade on a bell curve, right? I hope.
We don't even grade. Yeah. That takes too much time. Who has time to grade?
No, but thank you. Seriously, I'm humbled, and I'm honored to be on the show. I've been watching for many years, always chiming in with my little 2 cents here and there. But you guys have been great, and I'm really happy to be here. So thank you.
Well, we are happy to have you, sir. So thank you. I wanted to kick things off real quick with a comment. Jonas Hallberg says, "Good evening, everybody." Good evening, Jonas. Thank you for spending it with us. Folks out there, if you want to join the conversation, feel free to jump in with a comment, a question, a super chat, all of that good stuff. We are not proud. Well, I'm not anyway.
Jonas, remind us again where you're from. I feel like you're a Scandinavian. Am I right in that? We don't have to wait in real time. But
that'd be awesome. He got up to go get dinner. He's going to come back and just waiting.
But I feel like he's Scandinavian. I could be wrong though. Yeah, Steve. This being your first class assignment, were you familiar with this one before?
Actually, I was. I've seen this one. I don't know, a couple of years back, and I'll tell you right now, just like you said, Ian, it was just what the F did I just watch? And it totally threw me. And then I watched it again a couple of weeks ago. And then I watched it again last night in preparation for this cast. And I got to tell you, this movie has grown on me. It really has. Okay. But I'll throw this out real quick. Is it a Giallo?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes. And I'll tell you why. It's for the most superficial reason ever. And that's because J&B Scotch appears not once in the background, but on 2 separate shelves on the same bar. Yeah. But now I know, Kitley, you're sighing, you're wetting your pants, you're getting ready to leave the live stream.
Wow!
But I gotta say, because I could sense the disappointment after all these years. I'm still like hung up on this J&B thing. But I will say, I made a new discovery in the last couple of weeks because my family and I watched Freaky Friday, the Jamie Lee Curtis, Lindsay Lohan version from a decade ago, and I discovered that in the climactic wedding scene or pre-wedding scene. You know where I'm going with this, Steve? There's a J&B on the bottle in the bar.
There you go.
Yes.
You know, if Freaky Friday or the Freakier or whatever the one, if that was a Giallo, that probably would have made it a pretty good movie.
Hey! I haven't seen Freakier Friday, but Freaky Friday from 2013 is pretty awesome.
Well,
I know.
Freaky Friday from 1975 or 6, the original, is pretty awesome as well.
That's an old movie. I'm not going to watch it. No, okay.
Wait a minute. It's the same. Hang on a second. Different standards.
Wait, is 75 the same? Are we talking about
I think
two movies from the same year?
I don't remember when Freaky Friday actually came out, but I feel like it was mid to late 70s. And so it's of a similar vintage at least.
Well, that's amazing, but we're not going to talk about that today any more than we already have. Jonas says Sweden, Malmo. Excellent. Thank you, Jonas. All right. So, Steve, I'm going to call on you twice in like 2 minutes. Can you synopsize? I almost said Freaky Friday. Can you synopsize Autopsy?
I could do that one too. Hey, you want to talk about prepared? Do you want the Blue Underground synopsis or the Vinegar Syndrome synopsis?
Dealer's choice, sir.
Let's do the Vinegar Syndrome because I'm going to read it right from the cover, and it's a little bit more detailed. Okay, here we go. A wave of sudden violent suicides have gripped Rome and are being blamed on sunspots. Simona, a young pathologist with an unhealthy obsession with death, has become increasingly interested in this strange phenomenon. But with the discovery of a body of a young woman, an apparent victim of a self-inflicted gunshot, Simona finds herself thrust into a terrifying mystery and conspiracy to cloak actual murders as suicides. And the nearer she comes to unraveling the truth, the closer she is to entering the sights of a deranged killer who might be a lot closer to home than she realizes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, very well done. Very well performed, I should say, because you didn't write that, but you read it very well.
Well,
but that makes a lot of sense. But maybe it's the fact that I was expecting a bit more streamlined from the film itself. It feels like there's twists and revelations upon twists and revelations, which I think is one of the things that helps put it firmly in that Giallo category. I feel like it does make sense somehow, but I've only seen the film once, so I can't comment on how it all comes together. Again, that's what I'm hoping y'all can help me out with. All right, so you've seen it a few times, Steve, and it's kind of grown on you in your own words. Kitley and AC, what do you make of this film? How many times have you seen it, if you can recall, and what do you make of it?
I think I've only seen it the one time. There's a couple of autopsies out there. I think there's one from 1973 that I had seen thinking it was this one. And then I saw this one and I went, okay, this is the one I haven't seen. So I've seen it one time, and Kitley can vouch for this. The first 2 minutes of this movie, I'm like, this movie's amazing. I am in it to win it. And because all of that is in the description that Steve just rattled off for us, where, there's sunspots and there's a wave of suicides and she's investigating and she's having hallucinations about dead bodies coming up off the slab. And I'm like, this is amazing. I love it. And then it becomes a giallo in that it becomes a big mystery. But I was picturing you reading the Wikipedia plot description for this movie, because it's just like, there's so much plot in this movie and there's so much mimsy farmering. And I was just like, because 2 weeks later, I was like, I don't remember what the hell happened in that movie other than I thought it was awesome. And then it got increasingly weird and I started just kind of losing the thread and kind of lost my interest. I had to go back and read the description again. And I'm like, yes, I think I do remember all of that actually happening in this movie. I also feel like it's a long movie. Is it like 100 minutes or so? It feels pretty epic in runtime.
Like 141, 143, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah,
I'm sorry. An hour and 43, not 143 minutes.
I knew what you meant. It just felt like it was 2 hours. And
yes.
a few minutes. But anyway, yeah, that was my initial takeaway, and we can talk more as we go.
Okay. Kitley.
The funny thing is, Aaron, that was last week. We watched it, not 2 weeks
It felt like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I know.
I've had 2 weeks over the course of 1 week.
I don't remember when I first saw this, but it was probably when Anchor Bay released it on VHS, maybe DVD, quite a few years ago. I remember the beginning. Don't really remember much about the film. And for some reason, I think that's the key to this film, because when I went to pull it out for me and AC to watch it, I'm like, yeah, I probably just got an old, burn of a DVD. Turns out I have the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray, no recollection of buying it. So we watched that, and I don't know. I give the film a lot of credit for throwing the red herring as far as throwing you off in the beginning as far as what kind of film this is. But by the time you get to okay, wait a minute, this is actually a giallo and there's some mystery in here, you're like, who the fuck is this guy now? What are we doing here? What is going on here? What do we do? What does this have to do with the suicides? What is this to do with this? And by the time you get to the end, you're like, is it done yet?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what, but Mimsy Farmer cannot hold my attention. Unlike the plethora of other women in these giallos that we've watched over the years, there is something about her that it just, I don't know.
Uh-oh. Steve's stepping in to defend the honor of Miss Mimsy.
Well, I like Mimsy Farmer in Four Flies on Grey Velvet, and I remember talking about enjoying her in that movie. That's all. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, Brian texted us yesterday and said he might miss, and he made a passing joke as to, you guys got to sit through some bad Mitzi Farmer acting. And I got to tell you, I'm not here to praise her, but I kind of like Mimsy Farmer in these movies. I don't know.
Different. She is different than what we usually see.
She's totally different. She's attractive, but not too attractive, which is not a nice thing to say, but she's always playing that same character where she's going crazy. I mean, Four Flies and The Perfume of the Woman in Black in particular. I thought she was phenomenal in that movie. I mean, and she's slowly going crazy. She's being gaslit here and there and everywhere. And I don't know. I'll go to bat for her. I mean, she's not a Rosalba Neri or an Edwidge, but she gets the job done in these types of movies. So,
well, and I think
I'll leave it there.
One of the things I think is that she's equal parts doormat and independent woman. Mm-hmm. Like she just, it seems like you don't know what version of her is going to show up at any time. Like there are just times where she just lets things happen that are completely inappropriate. And then there are times where she absolutely stands up for herself and she's very forthright. And it's a weird mix. And again, I think that's why it's hard to kind of like get on the Mimsy bus, because you're like, where are you going to take us? I don't know.
Are you talking about in general or in this film specifically?
This film specifically.
Okay. I watched it this morning again at 4 a.m. So
did you watch it in one go?
No. Like an hour and then later.
You owe me $1, John.
Like an hour. Look.
Wait, I never would have taken that back.
I had to get up and make breakfast and play Legos and go to church and then come back and make lunch and all this. I'm squeezing this in as much I can, gang.
Well done. Anyway, continue.
So I'm prefacing that by saying
I kid because I love, Ian.
Oh,
I kid because I love.
Thank you. No, I'm prefacing that by saying I'm happy for you guys to like machine gun back some examples of where I'm wrong here, but I feel like there are scenes where her character is taken advantage of, especially early on, like by every guy she encounters in this movie. But I also feel like she fights them off or pushes back. I don't quite get the doormat compliment. She really strikes back at Uncle Evo, her co-worker at in the morgue later on, with an amazing scene where she goes after him with a fork and will not stop going after him until she's stopped. I appreciate that because that's something I haven't really seen before. in these kinds of movies. If a woman fights back against an attacker, she either kills him or she'll like stab him and then like run away, or he'll run away or something. But no, she's like, no, this has gone on for possibly years, this inappropriate workplace behavior, and she's just done with it. And I believed that if Edgar hadn't stepped in, she would have just been working on him the next day in her professional capacity. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, were there other aside from her like falling into bed with Edgar and Paul, the priest, later on? Were there times when she was just kind of fully taken advantage of and didn't fight back?
Well, there was in the very beginning. I think she, after Edgar pulls that horrible prank on her and totally freaks her out in the morgue, he drives her home, and he borderline, almost rapes her and molests her in the car, calling her an ice cube and, invite me in for a drink. And she's like, no, I'm tired. I want to go to bed, whatever. And I mean, he's just such a creep to her. And she takes it, almost like she's used to that, and she'll put up with that if it's him. But as you said, Ian, later on, our infamous, morgue attendant tries the same thing, and she just stops and almost kills him, with the fork and all.
That's fair, and I thank you for bringing that up. My only counter to that, and it's not a great defense, is that they have been seeing each other for a while, so she's at least used to it. The kind of, and again, I'm not trying to defend her putting up with it or her being the victim of anything. What I'm trying to establish is, from the way AC, the way you were talking, I almost felt like it was random people kind of assaulting her and her not fighting back. But I think the main context in which she doesn't kind of put up a fight is with her boyfriend, which opens up a whole suite of problems.
Less about her being assaulted. I'm sorry if I was unclear. I just feel like she puts up with a lot of inappropriate behavior. I think that's all I meant, was that there's just times where things are happening and she just does not push back until later, when she does push back. We see evidence of her pushback. But yeah, I think as I'm talking about this, like, it sounds like this intriguingly complicated, nuanced, that she's negotiating these relationships, and it didn't feel that way while I was watching it. It just felt like, okay.
No, and here's the thing: it's not complicated. That doesn't make it any less awful, but we also have to put ourselves in the context of this film being a half century old.
Sure.
And a lot of the attitudes and the kind of expectations is the wrong word possibly, but it's the one that I can grasp the easiest right now, is that we expect more of the consequences for this lecherous behavior nowadays. We expect more of the assertiveness and possibly the idea that if she did fight back, she'd have someone to go to that she could at least talk to and possibly believe her. But you're talking 1975. That's just not the case.
No, right. I don't think it's that. I just feel like there's her consistently kind of going along to get along, or get along to go along. I think just gets a little tiresome, even though I recognize, we were looking at the times. I think there's just that aspect of it. If you're like, and that's where the doormat comes from. The doormat comment came from, was just like, it's hard to root for this person just because I want her to make a stand. I mean, we certainly had independent women. We've seen many of them over the course of these Gialli, women who do stand up for themselves and women who don't take any shit. And this one just seems to take a lot of shit all the way through the movie until she's done taking it.
And I think if the movie were more about that, I think that's sort of an undercurrent. Yeah, that would have been something to explore. But what I got from just the first 10 minutes is that, like I said before, every guy in this movie is a dirtbag and is really bad towards her.
Yep.
And so it's nice over the course of the film. There's one moment where she kind of strikes out and really gives the business to this Evo guy, kind of like taking it out for all of the abuse that she suffered at the hands of all these other people. But then at the very end of the film, she is still reduced to, and we'll talk about that bizarro climax She's reduced to lying naked on a floor, being gassed, and then 2 minutes later in film time, but like several hours, maybe even a day later, I don't know, she's watching from across the street as her priest, possibly boyfriend, does all the fighting and stuff on the roof of the scaffolding in Rome. So yeah, it's not a great portrayal, but
let me add in there the thing that kind of from the beginning, and not really confusing, but kind of throws you in a different direction, is we see in the very beginning that her character has got issues, whether she's delusional,
right?
She's having these images. So in the very beginning, it started to make me think, what we're seeing really happening with other characters that she's involved with? Because she's obviously, there's something going on where she's having these hallucinations or attacks or something. So it sets her character up as a mentally unstable person.
Mm-hmm.
And then we leave that and we go into the Giallo part.
Mm-hmm.
It's a question I have. I have that same question kind of at the end. Was this a genre rug pull? I mean, I almost thought it was going to be like, are the dead really coming back to life, or what's behind this rash of suicides? Is there some grand conspiracy, or really is it sunspots? And then at the end, like the whole sunspot thing seems to come up right before there's a murder.
Yep.
It's almost like the yes. And that's not the first Friday the 13th reference I'll make in this show, I promise.
Thank goodness.
Or not the last, I should say. But yeah, it's just it sort of wears that premise as a convenient skin every time it needs to get out of a boring expository dialogue scene, but it doesn't really contribute to any kind of overall thesis at the end of the film. I feel like you could have taken all the hallucinations and everything out from that opening part of the film, and the movie would have been completely the same.
Yeah, I agree. It seems like they started the movie almost with a certain tone, and they ended it completely different. I mean, the whole opening montage is the sunspots and the solar flares, and the fact that she's overworked. She's working on a thesis. She's in graduate school. She's an intern at this morgue. So the way I see it is that the heat really was supposed to be a main theme of what's going on. All these people are killing themselves because of the heat, like that old Twilight Zone episode where the Earth is getting closer to the sun and the people.
So good.
Great episode. But to me, it seems like that's where they originally wanted to go. And then as the movie progressed, you heard less and less about the heat. There's a couple of mentions here and there, like the guys cleaning up the sand at the beach said, oh, it's going to be another scorcher or whatever. But I think that whole heat, solar, craziness was, in my mind, was supposed to be a major factor of the plot of this movie. And they kind of lost it as they went along. That's just me.
Well, actually, Steve, because I was thinking the same thing. I feel like there's so much, like, we are meant to think that the priest brother, like, everything points to the fact that he's the guy. Like that. There's big red herring point sign. And I feel like the same thing is kind of true of the sunspots. It's like, it's going to be about sunspots. It's not at all. And in this case, it's like, it's clearly this guy, and then it's not. And you're like, well, because I've seen enough movies, I know that when you say it's this guy, it's not going to be that guy. But I haven't seen enough movies where sunscreens are the misdirect. And so I was kind of like going, get back to the sunscreen or sunspot thing. That was awesome.
I like sunscreen as a misdirect.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I like that.
No, we got to do something with that.
This movie was actually
it literally is a misdirect sunscreen. Like it does send the sun rays away.
It's a sunscreen smoke screen, is what you're saying.
That's right.
Yeah.
This was actually released under the name Sunspots in some European countries.
Wow. I think the version I watched, which was on Plex this morning, had the original title "The Victim."
The Victim, yeah.
Which, how many victims are there? And there's a lot in this movie. But going back to what we're talking about of taking out the hallucinations and it still being the same film, I feel like the red herrings in this movie are fascinating in the moment, but once you realize what the entire story is, they really become kind of annoying. The whole bit where Father Paul, right? Paul is, is that?
Paul
I keep wanting to call him Peter, but it's Paul. He flips out. It turns out there's too much business with his backstory. He was a racer, a sports car racer who had a horrible accident at Le Mans that killed 12 people. And then he was committed and he's insane. And now he's a priest. And he's a priest who randomly in the middle of the movie has a freak out followed by a foaming at the mouth, like epileptic episode that's never mentioned again.
Yep.
On top of that, he's also a devout historian of the city of Rome, because there's a third act revelation about these floods that destroyed all these valuable artworks and students coming together to save Rome's history. I'm like, where did any of this come from? I understand it plays into like the Bible that had a missing page that was the part of a will and testament was stuck in there, and there's like an orange envelope. This movie is wild, and I
keeping
love
up with all this, Jonas. You getting all this? Because as you're telling me this, Ian, I'm like, oh, that's right. There's a whole thing with the Bible and the floods, and like this movie just like went out of my head as I was watching.
I think Armando Crispino may have used a Mad Libs book when he was just putting together the screenplay. I mean, jeez.
But here's the thing. I hate this movie and I love this movie at the same time. It does do that thing where it falls off the interest cliff real quickly when you realize it's not about hallucinations or even the dead coming back to life, because there's some real like smile stuff in there. There's the one corpse that turns and gives it this creepy grin, and then it like hops down off the table and then starts having sex with one of the other cadavers in the room. Like, what is this wild movie? I can't wait.
Right.
And then I waited and waited and waited.
It became the movie that it is instead of the movie that it sort of promises to be.
Now, the sunspot bit, I haven't watched TCM in a long time, but wasn't that part of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre sunspot thing in the beginning credits and all that? Because that was a couple of years before this, and I feel like they almost stole some of those animated sequences directly from TCM.
I definitely had that. I think I turned to John. I was like going, TCM, anybody? You know, like it really feels like it's trying to get you that Texas Chainsaw vibe because Texas Chainsaw was successful. So yeah, I don't know. Like it does feel like an homage. It feels like it does feel like it's a bait and switch. And I wish, I mean, I may enjoy this movie more the second time. Like you, Steve, I imagine it would grow on me when it becomes the movie that it is, as opposed to the movie that I thought it was going to be or that I wanted it to be. If I just accept it on its own terms, I'm sure I'd probably have a better relationship with it. Right now, I just felt a little bit like you're all over the place. I can't quite, I can't quite connect with you.
I want to go back to something Steve had asked early in the show. Is this Giallo? And I, teasingly and lovingly, by the way, I didn't take the sufficient time to appreciate the bottle that you have on your shelf. Is there a special significance to that bottle, like an emotional connection to it? Or is it just you love J&B and Giallo, so you want to have a bottle as part of your decor?
Well, I'll say that I love Giallo, but I do not love J&B. I mean, have you guys actually tasted J&B?
No.
Good. It's really, I think we bought that one night. Yeah, we were doing like a Giallo movie night, and we bought it and we drank it. And I was like, oh, I got to save the bottle. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Well, so is it so awful you want to kill somebody? Is that why it's in all these movies?
Well, I don't know. I took a couple of shots and I saw solar flares, so probably not a good sign.
All right. So, is this Giallo? Something that occurs to me, and again, help me out here if I'm missing something, but broad strokes, it feels like we're not privy to the actual murders in here. A lot of it is, shouldn't be surprised maybe because the movie is called Autopsy, which by definition is dealing with the aftermath of someone dying. Right. But a lot of this is bodies being pulled out of drawers and magnifying glasses. Oh, look, there's an entry point for a needle. This person was poisoned instead of committing suicide or whatever. But and there's the one guy, was it the groundskeeper with the belt in the bathroom? We don't see that happen, but we see the aftermath of it. We don't see a lot of death or spectacular killings in this movie. I know that's not necessarily a qualification for Giallo, but it's something that we tend to look at and discuss in these movies.
Well, and I think it's something that we as fans look forward to. It's why we come to a Giallo in the same way that we come to slashers, because we want to be able to see the set pieces. And there are a few good kind of suspenseful set pieces in this, but I agree, there aren't a lot of kind of what we've come to expect, which is, again, this is feels like another misdirect or a bait and switch where it's like, there's absolutely mystery here. Like if you can get invested, there's a lot to follow, and you have a lot of leads that don't go anywhere. You have a lot of characters that pop up, and you're like, well, okay, again, I've already said, like, we know it's not the priest, but that means it's got to be somebody else. And because they lean so heavily on him, you're kind of like, well, who's it going to be? Is it the dad? Is it, her boyfriend? Who is it? So I feel like there's a lot going on that is Giallo-esque that doesn't fit neatly into the Giallo box.
Plus, we spend the first part of the movie, because it's all the sunspots and everything else, because you have no idea what kind of movie this is. Then at the second half or whatever, then the mystery starts to go, okay, it's something else. But that's where the confusing part is. I mean, a Giallo, does it have all the typical elements, the black gloves and all that? Not at all. But it does have the mystery. But I think that is about the only connection, because I think the sunspots, the only reason the sunspots are in there is that it's a cover up for a murder that was made to look like a suicide.
Right.
Yeah.
That is the only reason that whole prologue and all of the beginning is in there, is just because the murderer killed someone and set it up as a suicide to make it look like everything else has been going on.
Yeah.
And that seems, I don't know, maybe it's implied that montage we get at the opening, which is a horrific montage, especially when you see the two kids and then the dad with the Uzi, which, I mean, that was spectacular. I've never seen someone do that to themselves with an Uzi. But there's like 4 or 5 deaths in this montage, but that's supposed to represent a rash of suicides. But I have no context for, did those all happen in the same day? Is it spread out over a week or a month? It just seems like a long way to go from the movie standpoint to set up a murder to look like a suicide. Like, I feel like you could just do that and not have to wait for the sunspot excuse.
Sure.
It's strange. Hold on a second. We got to pull over because Steve, you're being directly addressed in the comments. But first, Jonas says, Celluloid Dreams has an upcoming release of Hyena in the Safe. Yes, I saw that coming up. I don't know what that movie is, but it sounds amazing. Is it like the 4 Flies on Grey Velvet, where it's not actually about flies? I mean, not really.
Is there not really a hyena in the safe?
Right. I want to know. Is there a hyena in the safe?
Here, come on.
I don't know. Okay. And then also, Steve, Imprint Films are releasing Kolchak the Night Stalker, the complete series on Blu-ray.
There you go. Yeah, that's good. I have it on DVD. I haven't upgraded to the Blu-ray yet, but that's good to know.
I think Kino already put it on Blu-ray.
Oh, maybe.
They might have.
Is Imprint's overseas though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
For Jonas's side of the pond, it makes sense.
Thank you, Jonas.
Here's the thing, though, Jonas. I'm saying this as a friend, although we've never met, except in the comments. Don't buy it. Because the moment you lay out however much cash it is to buy the Night Stalker on Blu-ray, 6 months later, they're going to be like, but what if it was in 4K?
Yeah, but I don't know if you can do like a real 4K of a TV show. Can you?
You can. It doesn't mean but
it's not actually, not actually an improvement, but.
And then Jonas says Australia, which I love exclaiming, the names of continents too. So
that's where
South America.
That's
No,
where
sorry.
Imprint
What?
is based.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. I'll embarrass myself. All right. So back to Autopsy.
Back to Autopsy. Must we?
Oh.
Actually, when you were talking about all the rash of suicides, I went, wait, wasn't that how like M. Night Shyamalan's The Happening started as well?
Yes.
Which again started off with me thinking it was going to be a really great movie and turned out to be one of the most devastatingly unpleasant viewing experiences. So,
oh, come on,
no,
man.
that was the one that broke my. I broke up with M. Night Shyamalan over that movie.
You didn't even stick around for The Last Airbender?
Nope. Still never seen it.
Both Last Airbender and The Happening were two of the best movie-going experiences I've ever had because I was laughing my butt off the entire time without any kind of substance as an aid. But again, back to Autopsy. Thinking about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre situation, I feel like Mimsy Farmer, her character is sort of the Franklin of this movie. Like, what if Franklin was the main character? And I think that might be one of my annoyances with the film, but I'm also obsessed about it. Let me ask, I want to skip to the ending. We'll go back and talk more about what happens in the middle, I guess. But
there's dads and wigs and stuff we got to talk about.
I knew there was some kind of an angle with Edgar. First of all, I love the fact that he's the killer because I thought this movie did a great job of setting him up as one of the next victims because he's too close to our main character. He's too kind of, I mean, aside, I'll call him like the nice guy, like the kind of the public facing, like, yeah, I'm a laid back photographer dude who likes to race cars, but I'm also secretly abusive to my girl. I felt like they're kind of setting up where he was just going to get horribly murdered and we'd all be like, yes, but no. At the end or towards the end, he's talking about this will and being disinherited, like his father is disinheriting him. It wasn't until I went back and reread that Wikipedia plot synopsis that I realized, or I remembered or recalled somewhere in this garbled dialogue talk about his father having died falling down some stairs or something. I thought that he was talking about, oh my gosh, why can't I think of Mimsy Farmer's character's name? Simona. I keep wanting to call her Selena, but that's different. I thought he was talking about Saloma's dad. Simona, sorry. Implying that somehow Simona's father had sired him as a bastard and that he was actually dating his own sister. And for my money, that would have been that would have made this a top 10 Gialli of all time.
So once again, you are coming up with a more interesting movie than the one we're watching, but and which is like this one has enough plot twists, I think, all on its own.
But did everyone else catch that whole distinction between the fathers? Because I feel like it's not a big deal is made enough of his relationship with his own dad. All of the father-child relationship drama in this movie centers around our main girl, Simona, and her dad. The other thing, I just don't know. Did anyone else think that there was like a weird incest angle going on here, or do I just need to like pay more attention in class? I take your silence by honestly, to mean it was only me. It's only me, and I'm fine.
It was one of those things where I was just like, but I don't care.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm sorry. I tried to care. I really did.
I think that's the problem in here is they tried to add so much stuff in here that when something does happen, you're not like, oh my God, that's the whole, you're like, oh, okay, another one. That's something else. Oh, okay. He's a race car driver. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. And what was the whole purpose of that whole backstory? I mean, just so Edgar can say, "Oh, I recognize the priest." As I mean, and they went in terms of the whodunit, the mystery factor. They go so far out of their way to, let everyone believe that it's the father who's doing the killing. So much so that Edgar convinces Simona. Oh no, I'm sorry, the priest, Father Paul.
Yeah.
convinces Simona, and she starts doubting, and she actually goes in and cleans up his apartment and hides all of what's her name, Betty's belongings, and hides them in the closet to try to cover up for him. So, to John's point, there's none of the Giallo tropes of the stalking and of the black glove and of all this and that, but there's also really no police procedural aspect either. It's kind of like all over the place. It's just it's maybe a little bit too much plot, too many curves, too many characters for its own good.
Oh, there's plenty of curves in this movie, if you know what I mean.
Hey,
but
there is a lot, actually. There's a lot of that, by the way. There's a lot of nudity.
But I want to open with the way the movie opens, and then I'll get back to the ending because I have an idea I want to share with you. But what I loved about the way this film opens is it's an immediate shot of a topless woman. I'm like, all right. But then she holds up the razor, and I'm like, oh no.
Yep.
It's like, how dare you?
Buzzkill. Buzzkill.
Seriously. But
on theme with this movie, though.
Yeah.
But I kind of like that idea of like, it's you're getting a little bit what you want, but you shouldn't want it, kind of a thing. Whether or not I agree with that, I like a filmmaker with a point of view. The end of this film, and this is my second and last Friday the 13th reference, when when Simona shows up at Edgar's place, or he shows up at her place, I can't remember which place it is. He starts confessing his plan. First, he confesses to his aunt, who's deaf and literally can't hear anything. And that's when we start to realize, oh, he's the one who's behind it all. And he kind of continues this confession to Simona after he has drugged her. But when he shows up, it very much is that like Mrs. Voorhees thing. Like, it's okay. You can come with me now. And I did really appreciate that whole climactic, what I thought was the actual climax of the movie, where she can't move. She's being paralyzed as he Bond villains his entire plot and future plans and all that. And then Paul shows up and he hides, and you think that she's going to be able to warn him that there's someone right behind you, but she's completely paralyzed. She can barely even blink. I mean, she drops the glass, which you think is going to be the thing that alerts Paul to, oh, there's something wrong, but that just says, oh, she's in the next room. And right. Paul gets stabbed in the back with a syringe, and he is similarly paralyzed. I love that he starts beating on Edgar, and Edgar's like, the more you exert yourself, the quicker that stuff goes to your brain. I think this movie should have ended the way that we're led to believe it's going to, with our two protagonists who both turned out to be the good guys, and our unsuspecting, questionable taste in relationship manners boyfriend being the villain. He drugs them, strips them nude, monologuing the entire time, turns on the gas, and then leaves. That would have been a hell of an ending. He just gets away with it, and we're left thinking, man, we usual suspects the entire thing, going back through the entire film, like mentally looking up clues, maybe even rewatching the movie again because it's all there. You can cut out about 78 other extraneous plot points because they don't matter. But no, what happens is Paul somehow lifts himself up, bites a bottle of pills. I don't know the significance of these pills. Are they supposed to counteract the effects of whatever?
Epilepsy.
Okay, so this is epilepsy medication, but they counteract the effects of the whatever drug he was injected with. How did that? I missed something there.
Just lucky.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the gas they're inhaling.
Yeah, I mean it's a magic pill. Everyone should be on epilepsy medication. Not true. Do not do it.
Don't actually do that.
Okay. But then he lifts himself up more and turns on the water, which starts to flood the apartment. And I'm thinking, okay, now they're both going to drown because they can't move. That's fine. That's some hope with the dark ending, but ultimately a dark ending. But no, starts to flood. The dog, who looks just like the dog Jason from Nightmare on Elm Street 4, comes running.
I'm with you. Keep going.
I'm with you.
Okay. This feels like the plot of the movie.
It is. My rambling explanation. Nightmare on Elm Street 4, the junkyard scene, Kincaid has his dog. The dog pees fire and brings Freddy back.
Freddy.
Yeah, Freddy.
That's 3.
No, that was Elm Street 4.
That's 4.
Kincaid survives 3, and the opening to 4 is when Freddy comes back in the junkyard and kills him. I'll see you in hell. Tell him Freddy sent you. Anyway. I haven't watched that movie in years, I promise.
Me neither, obviously.
All right. Long and short of it is, the dog comes up the stairs because sees the running water. Smash cut to Edgar on top of this scaffolding, on top of this beautiful building in Rome, taking pictures. And you notice there's a car speeding into the plaza down the street. And who hops out of the car but Paul and Simona? They are totally fine. Right. They're dressed. She looks like she might have been to the salon. When did this happen? How did this happen? I don't know. But he runs up and Edgar gets in a fist fight with Paul on the scaffolding. And he's like, I'm going to take you with me. It's a thrilling fight. And at the end, this is something I've never seen in a movie before. The body falls from a great height. Edgar
it's good cut.
Plops on the sidewalk. But then, like, he lifts his head ever so gingerly and then plops down dead. It's not immediately like road pizza thing. You think he's might make it or something, but then the crowd comes over and we cut to credits.
Well, it's a really good cut. Like when the fake dummy hits not a fake dummy, it's an actual dummy. When the dummy hits the sidewalk, there's a really nice quick cut of the actor. And then, like you said, he raises up and dies. And I'm like, that was actually worth doing. Well,
this
with
movie,
a bit of brain in the back. Yeah.
Sorry, that was amazing. This movie doesn't have just one, but 2 dummy drops. So right off the bat, that's you have to add a half a star for that automatically. But I'll tell you, that second dummy drop, the one for Ray Lovelock, that may be the best Italian dummy drop I've seen to date. And exactly what you said, AC, that quick cut from when the dummy lands right to the actual Ray Lovelock, that was done really, really well.
Yeah, I liked it.
I also think we've come up with a name for a new punk band, Italian Dummy Drop. And AC, to your point, I think a fake dummy would actually be a real person. So we don't want to see any of that.
I'm not actually. I'm going to use a real person, which is a fake dummy. I like that, Ian. That's good.
Well, thank you. Jonas, I think you're vying for Steve's spot as like the next guy to come out of the comments and onto the show. I love this. You're the most active.
Anything could happen.
Yes. He says Mimsy Farmer apparently born in Chicago in 1945. Really?
Wow.
I got to verify.
Is she still with us?
Yes, she is, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, so she's 80 this year.
Yep, she is. And I read that she went on to be some sort of a sculptor on slash set decorator on some famous Hollywood movies.
Wow.
I don't know which ones, but fairly recently, within the last 10 years or so.
That's cool.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, is that it? Yeah.
Yeah, she was a sculptor on there.
Oh, she was the art department on Brotherhood of the Wolf as well. I pulled up her IMDb and I'm looking at it, and
even Pan's Labyrinth.
Whoa, man, this is crazy. And most importantly, Wrath of the Titans and the best Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. Okay, so they can't all be winners. Oh, and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the Johnny Depp version.
She's paying the bills. This is good.
She's paying her dues for having been in this movie.
Whoa.
No, I'm sorry. I love. She's
not going to come on your show now. You just blew it.
Yes, that was the deciding factor.
That was the one.
Getting her on the show.
You know, one of my biggest disappointments in this film, and there are many, the score from Morricone.
Yeah.
I was at least hoping, well, at least we have this. And at the end of the movie, I'm like, I don't even remember the score.
I'm not humming a tune here.
It's very, very dissonant.
Yeah.
A lot of, female moaning and groaning, very dissonant, which is typical of a lot of Ennio's scores. But he saves the best for last. I mean, that last theme during the very, very final scene and the end credits. That's just a beautiful theme.
Is it? Okay.
It
Again,
really is.
I think both John and I were just tapped out by then. So
No, I totally agree. It's not the kind of soundtrack that you'd buy and put on and, cook dinner to.
That again, that sounds like one of those like Time Life albums, songs to cook dinner to. Yeah. But what have we missed? I mean, I feel like there's a lot. Oh, one thing I do want to say, and it was something that I thought it was kind of like a public service announcement that I wish had actually been a public service announcement. It's when Simona is fighting off Evo in the morgue with the fork, and then Edgar comes in and kind of breaks it up. He says this, he's like looking down at him from our point of view, says, "You may be an expert on corpses, but you've got a lot to learn about women." I mean, that's like a Captain America Steve Rogers poster right there.
True.
And I loved it. It was so cool. And that's another, I think, kind of a misdirect. Like he's, although it is strange coming from him, like if they'd taken out, here's a question, another bit of business that's just kind of piled onto this movie that's perhaps in the service of misdirection or just additional flavor, additional like shocking stuff. Did he need to be the abusive boyfriend? Does that make sense in the context of anything else we saw? Because I feel like him being a monster at the end is not really a surprise because he was a monster the whole way through. Was he hiding in plain sight? Or would it have been more effective if he had just been a nice guy who had this troubled girlfriend, and at the end it turns out he was the worst one of everybody?
Again,
anyone,
I want to care. I want to care enough. You're posing really interesting questions that the movie doesn't, I think, prompt from me as a viewer. Like I'm sitting there going, yeah, that's that. If I had been invested in the movie, or if I hadn't just been trying to hang on by my fingernails going, what is happening right now? I think that's a big part of it. And again, I meant what I said. Like I would watch this again, and if I thought I was going to have a good time, and know that I was going to have a better time watching it, because I'm going to take it on its own terms. I mean, honestly, when this movie came up, I was excited by the idea of seeing it because I hadn't seen it before. But I was also like, who recommended this? I don't remember anybody saying this movie, boy, this is one you got to check out. And now knowing why it ended up on the list, I mean, it wasn't, I was like, is it just the 50th anniversary? Is that the appeal? So I'm intrigued to find out what the underlying reason ends up being. But yeah, it was,
well, I gave you my reason. I was doing research for something else, and I read the synopsis like, this sounds nuts. So how can it not be entertaining? And we found out the hard way.
It is in fact nuts.
Yeah.
But
like there's no denying that there's a lot of twists and turns of this plot. But there's just something about it that it doesn't. And I think, I mean, what from our director, I'm not as familiar with his work. Are there some other things that he's done that are?
I actually did my homework for this, and his only other quote unquote horror / giallo movie I think he directed was called The Dead or Alive from 1972.
Okay.
And I've seen that before, but like I said, I did my homework and I actually rewatched that again on Friday night. And that, not a bad movie. It's a little bit more in line with the tropes and the themes of a true giallo. Not a bad one to check out, but this one's just all over the map. And just quickly, that morgue attendant. Does anyone recognize who that is? The actor's name is Ernesto Coley, but you guys for sure have seen him before in something you'll automatically recognize.
Is he also Living Dead at Manchester Morgue?
He may be. He may be.
That was my guess.
He's the scarf vendor in Torso.
Yeah.
Oh, how about it?
Playing yet another creep.
Oh, with the deep cuts. Now, Steve, The Dead or Alive, it sounds almost like from the title alone that should have had this movie's opening with the with the corpses coming back from the morgue. I don't know. Anything else to say on this? I don't know.
Well, like I said, it's definitely not my favorite. I don't even really consider it all that much of a true giallo. But after repeated viewings, the third time, that might have been the charm for me because I didn't love it, I didn't hate it, but I'll go to bat for it. It was okay.
Thank you for your service, good sir. Because
Yeah.
Well, okay, AC, I got to ask you and Kitley a question to kind of wrap up here. It sounds like you guys watched it together, perhaps at Shea Horror 101. Now, yeah, but it sounds like you had the similar experience of being like kind of bored by it. Did you not have any epilepsy medication to chew on to get you through the experience?
John?
No, I was just going to make another comment that I miss the days that you could get this kind of medication apparently at the local chemist or pharmacy or chloroform. You just pop down to the A&P
Everybody
and
had one.
I get it. Let me get a dozen oranges and give me that bottle of chloroform, because apparently everybody has this sort of drugs that I'm a photographer, but yet I can get some sort of a drug that's going to paralyze you. What the hell?
Yep.
But no, actually, me and Aaron watched this last Saturday before my power went out. Shucks.
Trust me, the irony was thick, my friend.
But I've seen it before, but it makes total sense of why I really didn't have a lot of recollection other than the opening. I have to give it respect for it's trying to do something different.
Yes.
I just don't think that it worked really well. I don't think the characters were developed enough to, like I said, I and this is nothing against Mimsy Farmer as an actress, but she didn't like pull me in as, oh my God, she's in peril, or for me, it's like she's nuts from the get-go. So I don't know if she's supposed to be the one that we're caring for, or is she behind all, because they set you up for that. So I kind of give them credit for being different, but at the end, I don't think it worked.
Okay. I think that's a hell of a summary. Last question. Could there be a 1980s set giallo where you've got the killer and the killer has a partner and the killer sends the partner out to get chloroform, but the partner isn't too bright, so he comes back with color forms and they have to make that work as a death implementation?
Unless it's kind of like the old mythology with like vampire, or I think it's vampires or also demons, where they have to count, like if you spill rice grains, they have to count them. Maybe if you give somebody color forms, they have to kill them out.
Have to put them on.
Stop what they're doing until, crap, I got 2 more to, maybe.
Yeah.
And Ian will be providing a what the heck are color forms in the description for anybody who's under 50.
In case anybody wants to make an autopsy color form set, that would be pretty colorful.
Yes. Well, because Mimsy takes her outfit off quite often, so
yeah,
it would be in keeping.
Oh no!
You asked the question, Ian. This is all
I
on
know,
you.
And this will go down as one of my life regrets. Not this conversation, I want to say, or this movie, because the movie led to this conversation. So I'm very happy. We are going to leave that here, gang. And I just want to thank Jonas, our unofficial 5th panelist here tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Tonight, it's the afternoon here, but it's probably evening where you are, Jonas. So thank you.
7 hours ahead. So yeah,
man. But yeah, this has been Autopsy, the 50th anniversary. Well, let me ask one question. Has there been a lasting legacy of this movie? Did you watch or see anything in here that you might say perhaps is echoed through the ages that we might have picked up on today? Or is this just another curiosity? It's like, yeah, there's a reason it's not in the Pantheon.
It definitely comes late in the cycle. So I think to John's point, like them trying to do something different, Argento delivers Deep Red the same year, and that was meant to be kind of the giallo to end all gialli. So, again, I can understand why they're taking the big swings that they are and why they're doing the big misdirects, because, we've had a lot of gialli between 1970 to 1975. So, it makes sense. I think that John's point is just it didn't jive with my personal tastes, but I can understand where it's coming from. But I think it ends up being more of a kind of a curiosity than a classic.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you think about, it's certainly not, we're not talking about, 50 years of Autopsy the way we are 50 years of Deep Red or Jaws or any of the other 1975 films.
Yeah. No, that's an excellent point. I like that phrase, curiosity more than a classic. That sums it up perfectly. So, all right, everybody. I would like to thank you for hanging out, for tuning in, for paying attention in class. I'd like to thank you, my esteemed and fearsome faculty. I am Ian Simmons of Kicking the Seat. Once again, we have AC of Horror 101 with Dr. AC, John Kitley of Kitley's Crypt. All the information and the other faculty members can be found down below in the description. I don't have anything for Steve. Steve, Big Swifty 500.
He's on the Instagrams and stuff.
Okay, well, what can we promote, sir?
Really nothing. I'm just a super fan.
That's fair enough.
I'm just a super fan.
Well,
thank you again for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, of course, and you're not just a super fan; you are now part of the team, and we're happy to have you. So, thank you for again all the years of chiming in and now bringing doing more work to prepare for this show than the people who are actually running it. That's great.
Way to set the.
I took a bullet for you guys.
Teacher's pet, man. Teacher's pet.
Well, hey, I also take apples and checks. But anyway, thanks, everybody. The next time we get together will be October. That'll be officially scary season. So we'll be doing a scare-a-thon, and I don't know what we're talking about at that point. But if you out there have any suggestions on what we should discuss on the next Accademia Giallo for October, please feel free to leave a comment. And we'll take that under advisement and figure something out. But if you like this live stream, please like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, all that good stuff. We do also have a new Patreon, which you can find at patreon.com/ well, just look up Kicking the Seat. I don't even know what our slash is. But all that stuff. And until next time, whenever that is, whatever that is, thank you very much and take care. And also, class dismissed.